Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in to another installment of my video blog for polyphonic.org. Here at Illinois Bands, we wrapped up our summer season last Thursday night with our second summer band concert, and the school year is approaching pretty quickly. Band camp starts in a little less than a month, which means that now is the time for us to start preparing to put together roughly 300 folders of music. If 300 folders sounds like a lot, it's because it is. When I got here, I had to learn that numbers are generally smaller sounding than they are, if that makes any sense. For example, when someone would say, please make 100 books by the end of this week, I'd think, oh yeah, that's totally possible, which it is, but 100 is a much bigger number than I gave it credit for, and 100 books in a week is not a small task. I think I just had so much confidence in all of our abilities to create these things, and we usually did meet this expectation, but I'm getting better about telling people, you know, you might have to wait. That's a pretty big task, and it might take a little more time than that, especially if we want to do it correctly and good. People often ask what the difference between a band library and an orchestra library is, and aside of the obvious difference that we have no string parts to deal with and therefore no bowings to deal with, the dominant difference quite simply is in volume. My assistant came up with that, actually. It's a good answer. I liked it. A good part of this is because of the instrumentation of a band. Whereas with orchestras, you're usually dealing with about 3 to 4 clarinets. In bands, you're dealing with at least 7, divided between 3 to 4 parts. And not to mention the bass clarinets or contrabass clarinets, the extended family. And in orchestras, you know, it's rare to have more than 2 tubas, whereas in bands, 2 tubas is pretty normal. So the number of actual physical parts distributed to a band is about the same as the number of parts that would be distributed to an orchestra, but there's just more instruments that we need to notice, such as euphoniums or a larger percussion section or saxophones, which orchestras usually don't have, but we get them and they're really fun. There are, of course, a lot of things that are still common between band and orchestra libraries too, though, such as needing to fix errors or page turns and deciding between arrangements and additions, you know, just the basic librarianship stuff. We all share those. And the difference in volume can also refer to a difference in the size of the programs and the concerts. With orchestras, of course, the typical concert is about 3 to 4 pieces, and it's fairly easy to keep track of those per concert. And you'll occasionally get the Pops concert, which has more pieces and things like that, but with bands, the pieces tend to be shorter, and a concert program is usually at least 5 pieces. I think we haven't really had one that's been 3 or 4 pieces. We've definitely had up to 9 or 10, which makes taking apart the folders kind of a challenge to keep track of all those pieces and sort them out at the end of a concert and putting them all back together. And it often feels like it's a little more time consuming than it needs to be. But maybe it just feels that way because of how much production this library generates. No one's complaining here, though. Please don't get me wrong. It's all part of what we do and what we expect to do around here, and we love it. Everyone in this library certainly remembers their first time taking apart a large concert and reassembling the music into their sets when they've had to do that by themselves, because it's just such a large undertaking. But once you do it once or twice, it's really not that big of a deal, and you just get used to it. So then again, none of this is including the athletics bands, which is a very, very large production. Again, 300 folders. I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm going to save that as a topic for next time. Hope to see you then. Thanks.